All right, it is April 2019. I'm a little bit scared by that because it was just April last year, and now it's April this year. So this is the April update. This is the first of my monthly updates. One of the many things I'm trying to put in place with how this Computers for Congo mission is structured. You know, I've been doing this full time for almost 2 years now, and it feels like it has been so slow. You know, it's sort of just little bit by little bit. So I just try to think of it as I'm building a wall and I'm slowly putting one brick, another brick in place. As my dad says, it's the same way you eat an elephant, a little bit at a time. So this is one of the things which I have been trying to do for a long time, which is my monthly updates. I'm going to be, to everyone in the 100 Club, sending a monthly update, in which I send a more detailed written report and this video update just to give you a summary of where things are at, what's coming up, some things that have happened in the past and what's going on now. So as of this recording, it's the 8th of April on a Monday. So the biggest things that have happened in the last little while, the last few months, because the people who are watching this video, I've spoken to some of you recently, others I haven't spoken to in a while. So the latest, I guess, developments that have happened is I'm in this warehouse. As you can see behind me, I started out in my house, and now I've taken up the lease on this warehouse, which I think a lot of you know, but it's sort of the biggest thing that's happened over the last 4 months. So December last year, I took up a lease on a warehouse, which is this. I'm in Epsom, Chrysler Drive in Epsom. So I moved everything from my house, all this equipment that you see here, over to the warehouse now, which is there's a lot more room. And so I've got all these shelving behind this. There's about 4 more rows of computers, and there's more room to grow. So the goal would be that this is my storage facility. I've got an office over there that I work from, and where this computer's sitting is my workbench, where I get all the work done on the computers. So this will grow, and it will be a bit of a flux because it will grow and then I'll send them over, so there'll be nothing there, and then I'll build it back up and I'll send them over and it'll go back down. So I envision being here for the foreseeable future. I'm very content with this particular location, with the agreement I've got here at this warehouse on the lease. So the lease is $1,300 a month, and then I think there's water and electricity. Insurance is like I think a couple of $100 a year, which I've already paid for that, and then there's the water and electricity, which is not too bad. I think the electricity will get a bit more as I start to fire all these bad boys up and get working on them. So that's probably the biggest thing that's happened, this warehouse. I still haven't got a vehicle at the moment. I'm on the old Treadly, the old push bike, but hopefully that's not going to be the case soon. This week, actually, so when you've received this video, it probably would have already happened. I'm hoping to pick up a van. If all goes well and everything carries on as I plan it, then I will have bought a van, a nice little Mitsubishi Express that I can use for pickup. So that's probably the thing that I've been wanting to do for a while, is to buy a van so that I can go and do pickups when there's computers coming in. People that I've contacted, they say, oh, we've got 10, 20 computers. As much as I've seen people do it in the Congo, it's a bit tricky to stack all the computers up and pedal on the bike with computers stacked on the bike. So having the van will make pickups a lot easier. So that's hopefully going to make things from this point on a lot more efficient, be able to do a lot more pickups, and I don't have to worry about trying to organize, borrowing vehicles. You know who you are, borrowing vehicles, and can I use you to pick up computers or that? So that'll make things easier. That's good. Things that are coming up. So as most of you know, I've gone over to the Congo twice. The first time was for a month in December 2017, and then last year, 2018, I was there for 2.5 months from the start of July, or end of June till August. So that was last year's trip. And last year I sent a container full, I think it was about maybe 800 computers. We had some other hospital equipment in there, which I'm not going to be doing from this point on. I'm only going to focus on sending IT equipment. I'm not an advocate of just sending any old goods over just to hand out. And that's an explanation for another day. But from this point going on, my shipments that I send, whether it be in containers or single shipments that I send to other people's containers, will just be computers. So I sent the container last year. I had about 800 computers in it. I was with, some of you know, Pastor Samuel. My current pastor is Pastor Samuel, and so him and I sent this container over to his network in the capital city Kinshasa, which is on the west side of the country. Just Google Maps Congo, and you'll see Kinshasa, the big capital there on the west side of the country, close to the Atlantic Ocean. So Samuel has a church network over there that he's involved with. He's one of the leaders with. So the container went over there, and with that church network, we started the computer training program. So we've got one computer center open at the moment. I think we've got about 80 students there, and there is a repository of computers and equipment there that we will be continuing to use going forward as we grow that particular area of the programs of the computer training centers, and that's gonna grow. So that was last year. Now this year, the goal is to send another container. So my timeline is 1st of August. I'm going to be over in the Congo. I haven't booked flights yet, but the plan is my other partner, Dr. Luke, who operates in the east of the Congo. I made an agreement with him last year that I would send a container this year, and so that's what I plan to do. The goal is 1,000 computers. At the moment, I've got about 700. So between now and when I'm going to send the container, I hope to have that number up to 1,000. I will send the 1,000 computers over to the area of operation where Luke is working, and that'll be the goal. So hopefully, I'm aiming to have that sent. It takes about a month. It takes about 2 months to go to Kinshasa, because that side of the country, it's not a very regular shipping lane. So it has to go up to Antwerp in Brussels and then back down to Matadi, which is the port next to Kinshasa. Whereas on the east side of the country, it goes into Tanzania in Dar es Salaam, and that's a lot more common trading route. So it doesn't take as long to get the container there. So I'm hoping to have the container sent by June, and then I will be over there on the 1st of August, and I've been planning with Luke. So at the moment, I'll go into Kinshasa on the 1st of August, spend a few days in Kinshasa with Dr. Luke. We'll fly to the other side of the country, to the east, to Goma, which is a city in the province of North Kivu. It's the capital of North Kivu, on the border of Rwanda. Spend a few days there, travel south to Luvungi, which is in the province of South Kivu. Luvungi and Uvira. Uvira is one of the biggest cities in the province of South Kivu. Province is essentially the same as our state. So, you think of Victoria, New South Wales, South Kivu, North Kivu. That's where Luke operates, and that's where a lot of my existing computer centers where we've sent computers, that's where they are. So this trip, we're planning to build a university. And I tell this story, I remember I was sitting in a Mexican restaurant called Cantina here in Bendigo. I'd driven down to Melbourne, picked up Dr. Luke, brought him up to Bendigo to spend a few days, and I said to him, what are there in terms of degree programs for students of IT? Because he was telling me of the certificate courses that the people were learning in the computer centers. And I said, that's good, certificate courses, great to see that we're getting some education. But I said, what about the next level? Because that's really where the growth in the society comes from, is the higher education. So I said, what about degree programs? And he said, well, there's not really any universities for IT in that whole side of Congo. There's Bukavu, which is the capital of South Kivu. There's a university there, but it is somewhat lacking. to say the least, and maybe there'll be an opportunity to work with them in the future, but we'll see. But Luke said, we could build a university. I said, great. So a year and a half later, we're building a university, and so Luke's been organising that. He's using the funds from his NGO to fund the building of the university. He's got it approved with the government, all the official documentation. He's got some professors lined up, and we're sort of full steam ahead. So that's what this container will be primarily going for, is we will use the best computers that we're sending to furnish the university, so then we can get the university up and running. The other computers we will distribute to the other computer training centres for the purpose of selling them in their retail shops, so that those, because remember, the computer training centres, the way it operates is there is the education side of things, there is the internet cafe side of things, there's the workshop where people get repairs, get services, web design, all the kind of IT services, and a retail shop. So you've kind of got a one-stop shop for all your IT services. Get it repaired, buy a computer, learn how to use a computer, access the internet, all in one thing. So there's an aspect of where people are coming to pay for the service, which includes the training. They're paying for the service at the computer training center, and that funds the computer center, so it's financially self-sustainable. So some of the computers that we send will be going for that purpose, to sell on to the public, because the public have to buy computers from somewhere, and so I am acting as one of those suppliers of computers. It's just so happens that because when I'm supplying it through my partners, it works, it benefits more people. It's done in a better, more ethical way, so that the centres are self-sustainable. We're providing jobs, we're educating the public, providing more business opportunities. And so, and then the goal would be some of that money that's earned from the sales of the computers that we send over then comes back and helps fund my next container. That's the goal theoretically, but we'll see how that goes. But that's the timeline at the moment. I'll send the container by June, go over August, be there for the grand opening of the university, which will be on the 10th of August. And then I hope to stay there for 3 months. So at the moment, that's the plan. For 3 months, that's kind of the best limit for a visa. You can pay for a 3-month visa, and we're going to see if we can get a temporary residency visa, which just means that I can stay there for as long as I want during that period, whether it's 2, 3, 4 years, and I can come and go as I please, so I don't have to pay the visa costs each time. But we'll see. All of this happens on very little communication with Dr. Luke. That's why it's different working with Dr. Luke as to Pastor Samuel, because obviously Pastor Samuel is my pastor and I speak with him almost every day, so communication is a lot clearer. So it's just different working with those two partners. So that's the goal, to be there for 3 months, and the reason I'm hoping to stay there for that long is to try and act as kind of an overseer with these computer centers. The more I can be there on the ground, the more I can help set up the network of computer centers. I can help the people who are running the centers, help them get it more sustainable. You've kind of got to spend a certain amount of time getting things sustainable before you can remove yourself from the situation. So I'm hoping to be there for the first several months of the university. I'm going to see if I can teach a course. So that's one thing I basically got this window of, we're opening the university and I'm going to be there for 3 months in the same region in the East for the purpose of helping teach this whole system. Be there for the university, be there for the computer centers. Remember, we're trying to essentially start the IT industry from scratch in this area. So honestly, I'm not sure what that's going to look like. So 100 Club, ideas. What do you think would be the most efficient thing to teach? And how I should go about that. So now keep in mind, it's French. Mon français amélioré très lentement, but it's coming along. So my French is coming along, but slowly. So keep in mind that anytime I'm teaching, whilst it's a good opportunity to put my French into practice, if I'm teaching a class, it's difficult for me to be there as a teacher, so it would normally be me working with a teacher to help them teach. So all these different things, it's very dynamic, there's lots of moving parts, but that's sort of the update for this month, the news that's going on. I'm hoping, in the next month, I'm hoping to collect another 150 computers, which will mean I've only got about 150 to go. So that's good. If you hear of any contacts, any connections with computers, please let me know. And there'll be a more detailed, well, probably not more detailed because I've gone pretty detailed then. There'll be a written description of kind of the main things I'm focusing on and what I'm working towards. But that's the update for this month. There's lots going on. I only have so many hours in the day, and as those close to me know, I tend to overuse those hours in the day to my detriment. So I'm starting to build a team, and that's probably the other thing worth sharing. To let you know, from a long-term perspective, my goal is I want to build this Australian side of the mission, the Computers for Congo here in Australia, the collecting of computers, the reformatting of the computers, the prepping them, the packing them, and the sending them, and all the admin stuff that goes along with this side of the operation. I'm slowly, pole pole, as they say in Swahili, I'm slowly building a team of people together here in Australia who can run that without me being there. When that is in place, and at this stage it's a long way off, but who knows what's going to happen there. When that does happen, I will go to the Congo full time. So whether that's 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, or in the case of my mum's, hoping, never. But eventually I will go to the Congo full time once I'm able to leave this side of operations and run effectively. It's easier for me to be over there and communicate back to here in Australia and to sort of help organise things. It's more easier to do that than it is to be here in Australia and try and organise things over in the Congo. So that's the plan. Build things up here. I'll go over to the Congo, be there full time. And that's sort of the plan. So we're going here, we're progressing, we're getting more computers, we're getting them done, we're figuring out how these projects work. When I'm over there in the Congo, if there is an opportunity, God willing, for me to be there a bit longer, I'm going to try and go via the north, the Equateur province. There's a church connection there that might be a possibility for another partner, so I'm hoping to maybe visit them. And then I also hope to travel back to Kinshasa and spend some time there with the church network where I started to get connected with in my trip last year. So that's sort of where things are at. Once again, feel free. I really value your feedback on anything that's on your heart or any ideas you've got from hearing this. I value, as I've said before, I value your wisdom and your mind and your care and encouragement for me. So that's where things are at. I'm going to continue to do my best to brick by brick put this thing together and continue to build the mission so as it becomes all that God wants it to be. So I'll continue to do that to the best of my ability. So thank you very much, and God bless.